welcome to this week's In Conversation. My name is Phil Jackman and I lead on CyberNorth, Dynamo Northeast's cybersecurity cluster, supported by Accenture and the Innovation Super Network. Each week, I'm talking to people in the Northeast cybersecurity industry. And today, I'm joined by Eldon Jobe, co-founder and CCO at Melius Cyber Security. Hi, Eldon, how are you?
Hi, Phil. I'm good, thank you. Very good, yeah.
Good. So can we start then with you telling us a bit about yourself and Melius Cyber Security?
My background has always been sales, always in tech, recruitment, following on from sales, and now cyber, which was just a natural evolution of where I was, because all the recruitment that I'd done was in tech, and then it was sort of cyber recruitment, and all the businesses I'd founded in the past. One of the things that always frustrated me was security of tech and IT, which then sort of became known as cyber security. We then sort of put our heads together to try and solve that problem, and founded Melius Cyber. So Melius Cyber is aimed at SMEs, and it's aimed to the initial aim was to make it easier for SMEs to be cyber secure. So bring that cost down, not undercutting the market or anything, but just doing things in a different way so it isn't so expensive. So it's more affordable for people to make themselves cyber secure, and also make it simple so that they understand what it is we're doing for them. But actually, we've kind of changed a little bit. That is what we're doing, but in doing it, the biggest problem that we found wasn't that people so much didn't want to do cybersecurity because of the cost and because of not understanding. SMEs seem to be unaware of the necessity to protect themselves from cyber. So what we're doing at the minute is, our campaign at the moment is trying to make people aware of the dangers of not being cyber secure. And we're running a campaign or a study with with Durham Police at the moment, because they're well aware. They can't understand why SMEs are not taking cybersecurity seriously and why they're not protecting themselves. So we're running a study to try and find out the reason behind that, and try and make companies aware and what they can do to protect themselves. And one of the big things we've come up against is IT support. Not the IT support companies themselves; they're all happy to work with us. It's that SMEs tend to believe that they're protected because they have an IT support company, and it's trying to get people to understand that IT support are there for your day-to-day running of your business, and that isn't going to protect your domain. It isn't going to check that people haven't hacked you. You're in the dark web. It's putting basic security in place like firewalls, etc. But it's trying to make companies understand that the real differences between cybersecurity and IT support. So that's a little bit about Melius, where we came from, and what we've realized within setting up the business.
Excellent. So on LinkedIn, you describe yourself as a serial entrepreneur. Is this a gift or a curse?
Serial entrepreneur. Do you know what? It's a funny thing that having to write something about yourself. To say you're a serial entrepreneur sounds so arrogant. It's not for me to say I'm an entrepreneur. It's for someone else to say, oh, that's quite entrepreneurial. But you have to write something about yourself, and I guess I have founded and co-founded several businesses in the past. So yeah, maybe that's what people would call me. Is it a gift or a curse? Wow. I like to think of it as a gift. Well, then actually, as I'm saying that, maybe it is a curse, because I think the reason I do it is because I'm probably not a great employee, because I like to be doing things myself and making my own decisions, which doesn't always work. I think it does now in young, funky, disruptive companies. So for me, it's been a gift because I've been able to do my own thing, build something from nothing. But there's hard times, and sometimes things don't work, and for a lot of entrepreneurs, they go at things many times and they can't quite get it to deliver what they want, and I guess then it could be more of a curse. But I think if you're doing something entrepreneurial, I think the mind's a very powerful thing. So if you believe and continue to believe, and are prepared to change your plans, because your plans won't work at first, So if you're prepared to change them and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, I think it was Edison who invented the light bulb, and it was something like 10,000 attempts he had before he got it right. Well, there you go. He believed and he just kept going at it. So I use that when things aren't working. I refer back to that and just try something different.
Excellent, excellent. So CyberNorth, the cluster that we've got, is working on a cybersecurity innovation center to help develop an innovative ecosystem. How can entrepreneurs like yourself help those at the start of their careers?
I think it's the best thing you can do is just tell stories about what you've learned, think mistakes you made, the things that worked, and again, teaching people to believe in what they're doing and be prepared to change. Sometimes you've got to pivot, but be prepared to change your plan. That plan one didn't work, but also, there's a lot of things I've done. Each business I've started, and then I moved on to the next business when I've exited that one. In the next business, I've learned things that I think, wow, I wish I knew that when I was running my earlier business. That would have made it so much better, and I could have done things better and got going more quickly. So it's trying to pass that knowledge on. I think it's the best thing you can do.
Excellent, excellent. So I gather your background is in recruitment, is that where you started? And you hinted at the first question, but and software to support that sector. So how did you get from there into cybersecurity?
Yeah, it was a bit of a meeting. So my recruitment was always in IT. So I started a recruitment company up in the Northeast, but I recruited across Thames Valley, London, in the city, then into Europe, into Benelux, to Sofia Antipoli. And my big thing was that we were always taking money from that area and plowing it back into the Northeast, which I was always very proud of. But it was always tech. And the next thing I did was then I got into a software business, which was software for the recruitment industry. Now, in both the recruitment industry, in the recruitment company and the software company, one of the things that I was always very keen on, because I'm quite techy myself, and one of the things I was always keen on is making sure that we protected our IP and data security and cybersecurity was strong. So that was always a bit of an issue. It was always difficult to do and get right, and expensive. So when I exited from the software business, I decided to start a recruitment company up again, and that was more specifically for cyber and network infrastructure and secure software development. Now, the marketing that I did there, I reached out to someone in the Northeast, and I reached out to him a few times, and he was quite impressed by the type of marketing we'd done and how we got that message across. So he arranged a meeting, but it wasn't for recruitment. It was because he had this idea of a cyber business that he wanted to set up, and would I and my business partner be interested? And of course, cyber, wow, yeah, really interesting. But it had to be something a little bit different. I didn't just want a cyber company that would do penetration testing and charge a fortune. Yeah, penetration testing is something that needs to be done at the right time, but in general, it's just a point in time assessment. So it was like, right, well, what can we do different? And his idea about what he called managed service, which then became really evolved into cyber security as a service. So could we make that disruptive? Is it disruptive what we're doing? Potentially, but just the fact that we could do something that was more helpful, something that people could understand and would be beneficial for the marketplace. So when we decided, right, this is what we could do, then yeah, I was all in. So sorry, that was probably a long-winded answer to a simple question, but that's how I got there.
So is Melius the outcome of that journey?
It is, yes. So Melius is part of Melius Group, which is a bigger business in itself. So that helps support it, which is great when we're getting going. Although it runs independently, but it's just got that backing of Melius Group. Yeah, so through we started initially just doing whatever we could, and then in the first lockdown, that was actually in some ways quite good for us because it gave us a chance to kind of develop the managed service 2.0, which really grew into proper cybersecurity as a service, which is called MELCaas. And that's, yeah, we still do penetration testing, traditional penetration testing, but MELCaas is really what the business is all about.
Okay, I'll come on to MELCaas in a minute or two, but tell me, what is it that Melius is, what's your target market? What is it, what problems are you trying to achieve or solve?
So it is the SME market. It's not so much the one-man band companies, although we're happy to help them, but it's sort of when you're at that next stage, when you've probably got 5 or more employees, up to maybe a couple of hundred, sometimes more. In fact, our biggest client has about 600 or 700 employees. But it's basically these are companies that they can't go to Accenture or EY or KPMG to get their auditing done and get their cyber security sorted. So what's out there for them? Well, it's like a dark art, really, for people who don't understand it. So our aim is to work with these companies, make it affordable for them, make it so that they can actually understand the reports that they're getting, so they can see the difference it's making. So a very simple dashboard to help them, and reports that are written in plain English. Yeah, they're tech reports, but they're also translated into plain English that anyone should be able to understand. And of course, like I said, getting that message across of why businesses should be protecting themselves from cyber attacks and ransom attacks.
Okay, tell us a bit more about MELCaas then, the cybersecurity as a service tool.
Yeah, so essentially, it's there's other companies out there doing different things, but there's no one doing what we're doing. So essentially, it's a basic scan of your domain, but it's also a deep scan of your domain and the dark web. So we've built some tools to be able to do that. Then it's penetrating your whole network and infrastructure, which could be across several offices. And this is so in essence, it's a remote penetration test that's done 365 days a year, and we're scanning for initially I think it was 180,000 vulnerabilities, and it's a lot more than that now. And we test against those vulnerabilities, so we don't just scan to find them, we actually test against them and see, right, okay, we found these vulnerabilities, what happens if we actually try and attack those vulnerabilities, so that we can fully report back on what's happened there, and what the effect of that is. And we also, with what we're doing, we can be aware of 0-day vulnerabilities within 24 to 48 hours, so we can protect against those and advise the changes that need to be made to stop those sort of attacks from happening.
Okay, that sounds like something fairly unique for Melius. It's a way of differentiating yourself from your competitors. Is that how you see it?
Very much so. Like I said earlier on, we'd love to develop something that's disruptive. We've got some ideas, some great plans for the future that could really be disruptive for the industry. So this is our first step in trying to do that, trying to do something a bit different that anyone can get their head around and any company can use. It's very light touch for businesses. And then obviously, if someone needs quite often people need a sort of on-site penetration test just for insurance purposes, just for a tick box exercise. So we can also provide that. But by using MELCaas, it helps towards, in fact, it almost does everything you need to be Cyber Essentials certified, and goes a long way to getting Cyber Essentials Plus certification, which we can also help with and get companies through.
Excellent. I've seen it and I can get my head around it, so it must be something quite good. Anyway,
yeah,
my
excellent.
question for you, Eldon, is look, these next few months are going to be very strange, and what are your hopes for the future?
Wow, they are strange, aren't they? So I mean, I'm talking to you here from my house, where normally I would be in the office. So what we're trying to achieve in the future, say over the next 12 months, is to help people be secure when they're working from home working environments. A lot of people who are already semi-secure in work, then they come home and they're not secure at all. And there's, I won't go into it now, but there's lots of risks and potholes in doing that, and especially people then starting to use work computers for home stuff, or a home computer for work, opens up lots of gaps. But then it's again going back to the office Are people really secure when they go back to the office? So we're aiming to be the go-to name for cybersecurity for SMEs. We want people to recognize that cybersecurity is an essential thing that you need to do, and the risks of doing that could be catastrophic. There are companies closing on a daily basis because of cyber attacks they can't defend from. So we want to be that go-to company, but also making people aware is a key thing, getting that awareness out there. We want to be responsible for getting the awareness across Britain about the need of cybersecurity.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Eldon. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell, who's helped me to set up these in conversations. Look out for the next in our series, and if you're interested in taking part, please get in touch. Thanks once again.
Thanks.